All right, we're live, Mark.
Hey everybody, how y'all today?
Hey, guys. So, as y'all know,
Introduce yourselves.
this is Rebecca. This is Mark. This is Sister. And that's Misty that you see popping up in the screen. And this is Callie.
This is Cedar Creek Bottoms.
And this is Cedar Creek Bottoms Farmstead Live. All right, so we are live. So, as y'all know, it's been mentioned. I got a job. And I'm working a lot of hours. And I dropped the ball on doing my video this week. So we have been wanting to do a live again. So we decided, why not today? Sound right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds
Wonder
good.
if there's a way I can see comments and stuff. Kat, I need you to get down. Y'all hang
I
with
have
me
no
for a
idea.
minute.
This is
I'm going to move this table. There we go. And I don't, maybe comments will show up, maybe they won't. I don't know.
we'll figure that out.
Yep.
We'll figure it
Anyway, so one of the, sister, you okay? So one of the things that I wanted to talk about in a video this week basically was what homesteading is.
out.
What do you think homesteading is?
Homesteading to me is just you have a house, property, and you're trying to use it some to be self-sufficient. You may not be totally self-sufficient, but if you're growing gardens, got a few chickens, but that don't mean it's a homestead. You can just have the garden to be a homestead.
Mm-hmm.
Foraging off the land could be considered homesteading.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's basically like our kin folks did. They just lived and utilized their property to eat off of much as they could, what they could supply.
So the definition of homestead is pretty much what he just said. It is life as a settler on a homestead. Now, the reason I wanted to do this video is because that is all it says.
Okay.
That is it. It doesn't say anything about how much property you have to have.
Right.
It doesn't say how many crops you have to grow,
Right.
how many animals you have to have. It doesn't say anything about where you get your feed, if you grow it yourself or anything like that. It doesn't say anything. It just says life as a settler on a homestead.
Yeah.
So basically, what he said, being the most self-sufficient that you can be.
Right.
It doesn't say anything about you have to homeschool your kids. You can. That's awesome. That's great. Doesn't make you any more of a homesteader or less of a homesteader. It didn't say you had to have 100 acres or 1 acre.
Quit system.
There's a lot of people that do a lot of homesteading on an acre.
Yeah.
A lot of homesteading. There are people that are totally self-sufficient almost on an acre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how is somebody totally self-sufficient on an acre? They trade for other goods and things from other homesteaders or local farms and things like that. So they may have a gift for soap making that they can trade for a half a beef, a half of a cow or something. Who knows? They may be vegan, so meat's not in the option. You can raise a lot of rabbits on an acre.
Yeah.
Yep. And a chicken is a multi-purpose bird.
Right.
Yep, meat and eggs there.
That's true.
So
I just go back to the way my ancestors lived. I mean, my mom and dad and my aunts and uncles. I mean, yeah, they went to the grocery store and bought some stuff. We went to hardware stores and bought some stuff. We didn't make everything we done, but we done a lot of making our own stuff too. I mean, so I guess we were farming too. So I don't know how you draw that line between farming and homesteading. I don't know what that line is.
the line for farming and homesteading in tax purposes is very simple. Do you earn $2,000 a year on your farm?
I thought it was 1,000.
Two.
Oh, they done changed it.
Well, times have gone up.
I know the IRS thing used to be considered $1,000.
I think it's 2 now.
Okay. I know.
But that's still not a lot of money if you think about it.
No, that won't support most
So,
people in a month.
Mm-mm.
So
yeah, that is what defines a farm, is whether or not you're making money off of it. Basically.
in the government eyes,
In the government's eyes, yeah. So
'cause you can have a hobby farm and not be claiming taxes.
right, but if you say farm, hobby don't go with it for tax purposes. So make sure that if you're a hobby farm, you're not filing as a tax claim for a farm, because that's no longer a hobby then.
Right.
And that's why we have Farmstead instead of Homestead on us, because we do make an income from our farm. We do not make a living on our farm, but we make an income. We pay the feed bill is what I say.
Well, our goal is to get more self-sufficient.
Yes.
But also, it's a slow growth thing. It don't happen overnight.
Mm-mm. No.
It does not happen overnight. These people saying that you can go and have a place set up in a few months and be rock and rolling, I just don't know. Because I come from a family of farming 400 or 500 acres. And it takes time to do all that stuff.
Would y'all get down? Just go away.
Yes, we have animals that
Go
love to be up
away.
here with us. They love to be the center of attention. And the other day, we was doing a live with my friend Spencer. Whole time I had to pet sister to keep her calm down.
And that's when she wasn't licking on the cat.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have interesting days here.
Yep.
So yeah, homesteading is what you make for yourself, basically. It's as self-sufficient as you can get it. Not everybody can jump right into owning a farm that's totally paid off. Sister, go away. They can't go into not having a job right off the bat. A lot of us have to work a job in order to afford the house payment, or to be able to afford the equipment you need, or the seeds and animals, or the fencing. If anybody tells you homesteading is inexpensive, they are fibbing. Because fencing for any animal is expensive.
Yes. No matter what type you're trying to do.
We'll
do this.
We put a fence up.
Come here. Lord have
Yeah.
mercy.
We have to hold the dog like a baby, y'all. It's something else.
I just pet her for a while, just keep her calm.
The first thing we did when we moved on to this property was put up a rabbit barn. Now we brought in cages, and we already had a rabbit barn,
right.
But in order to make the move, we had to put up a new one to move into, basically. So that was, how much was that?
Back then, I think we paid
about $3,000.
Yeah, we paid, but then we custom one.
Right, we did the metal carport style barn, and we just moved everything from one barn into the other barn, and then we tore down the other one and moved it over to. It's going to be our future hay barn, but you heard how that is, right? Future, because we don't have cows and stuff yet. So that was the first project we did. Well, the second project, we went ahead and put up our style of coops, which were the cattle panel coops.
Like a hoop house.
Yep. We did not build a wooden frame and the wooden doors and all that stuff. We kept ours simple, because the other thing we did at the same time was bring over our dogs. So we had predator protection. You know, our style of coops is not for people that do not have predator protection. Ours are not predator proof at all.
Well, we've done ours too, where we could take them down and move them
right.
too fairly easy. And also, it's all made out of metal.
Yeah.
So,
and it's open air, which is what I like. I like the open air.
We live in central Alabama, so we're typically more warmer weather than we are cold. I mean, we got this Arctic blast coming this weekend, but basically our animals do pretty good. Now, summer's when we really have to watch and just make sure they have good shade and water. And as long as you got those two, because they're gonna find food, free range and chickens. Now, of course, we have to feed the rabbits every day.
Now we also, when we put those coops up, we put a fence up because we didn't want the chickens pooping on the driveway and over on the porch and all that.
Well,
we dislike the 20-acre Easter egg hunt too.
Yeah, because that keeps them pretty confined, and then it's easy to keep.
So they're free ranging in about an acre,
Then you
and it's
keep
controlled.
A livestock
dog
with them.
So our chicken yard is controlled. Hey, Mr. Spencer, how are you? I forgot we had comments, guys.
Well, I did send him a text. I told him we was on trial this.
Oh, and Blue Eye Northern is with us too. So,
Good.
So Miss
Good
Pat
to see you,
made
Pat.
it. Yep, it was good to see her. So yeah, like I said, some of the things that make homesteading for one person doesn't make it a homestead for somebody else. And do you want to go ahead and cross the controversy line and get it out of the way?
Which controversy? There's tons of controversies these days.
So there's a horrible thing going on about Tractor Supply right now.
Okay.
So we're not getting into the controversy. I'm not even going there, guys. One, I work for Tractor Supply. Does that mean my ethics match theirs? No, it doesn't. It means it earns me a paycheck doing a job I like to do. But the point of this isn't about the controversy. It's about not every town has a source for their people to get feed. So sometimes you have no option but to shop at Tractor Supply. And just because you shop at Tractor Supply doesn't make you any less of a homesteader.
No.
Because you still got to feed the animals.
I understand having ethics and morals. I understand. But if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, most majority of your major companies in this country are supporting something that you probably don't support.
And you don't even know about it.
You have to
unless
make up
you
your
research.
mind. And to me, in God's eyes, because you go patronize them don't mean you're going to die and not be saved from it. Now, I need to get away from that subject.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was not getting to the controversy part.
But what I'm saying,
food has to come from somewhere.
Right.
And if you don't have any options, you're not any less of a homesteader just because of where you get your feed. You're not any less of a homesteader because you homeschool or send your kids to public school or a private school. It doesn't matter. You do what's best for you and your homestead.
Yes, everybody, I'm rubbing her belly.
Having ethics is great, but you got to be able to afford. Yes.
That's true.
That is 100% truth. And my feed bill will not be changing its current location just because I work at.
Well, I work for a major corporation, and everybody loves their vehicles, but they support a lot of things that I don't support.
Yeah.
But what do? Do I just quit?
Well, like even when I worked for the extension office, you would not believe the controversies there that were supported by, agriculture, basically. So, yeah, the controversy is everywhere you go. So, I mean, yeah, I can sit here all day long and not agree with what they agree with, but in the bottom line, I've got to do what's best for my household.
Right.
And if that means I have to buy that car or I have to buy that feed from that store, then that's what I have to do for my home. Right. So, don't think that you have to go out and get cows right off the bat.
No.
You don't have to have a cow to be homestead. You can go trade, like I said, about the 1 acre homestead.
Right. You can take 1 acre of land and do a lot with it. Now, back in the 40s, when they had the big families, but they were farming, they said 40 acres was ideal for a family of 4 to 5 people. That was your livestock, your gardens, growing your cash crops and hay and pasture land. But you can do a lot with 1 acre with a few chickens, a few rabbits, and a garden. If you really
and purchasing hay from somewhere else instead of your property.
And barter, if you got a bunch of vegetables.
Well, when I say purchase, that's kind of what I mean. Yeah. It's not saying you're paying with cash, you're paying with something.
Right. If you had an overabundance of tomatoes and your neighbor down the road has milk and they don't have tomatoes, there's probably a win-win situation. You can go down there and give him a 5-gallon bucket of tomatoes for 2 or 3 gallons of milk, or I'm just using an example, but or you need some wood from somebody. No, you're gonna build something, or you may have something on your property that you can go down to the local guy that's got a sawmill, and y'all might can barter. You might have something you can barter with him for some wood. They're just learning to trade with each other like our ancestors did. They done it all the time.
And just because you don't barter doesn't make you less than a homesteader.
Right. So, to me, if you're trying to do something on your property, if it ain't nothing but a couple of little square container gardens, you're form a homestead. You may not be like the big boys, and just got these big hoop houses and everything in the world you can name. And
traded a rooster for wood. Pat did.
Hey, it works, and if we'd all work together, you can see a big difference happen. Now I know I'm getting off on a different subject there, but
so what do you need to do as a homesteader? Well, you got to start with what you can start with, and then you can grow that homestead to where you want it to go. So you don't know what you want to know. Notice I didn't say need, because you don't need anything to be a homesteader except a desire to do.
I wonder if I look at my phone and look at the chat. Why? I don't think I'd mess that up.
No, it won't.
It won't mess it up. I can't read the screen.
No, it won't. Will you be able to put it on? Well, yeah, you will. Never mind.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, you should be able to pull that up on your phone, wouldn't you?
No, I'll turn down the volume.
Yeah, that's what I did with Spencer the other day too. I had my phone over here answering a couple of people. So yeah. Let's see, what was I about to say?
Technology is amazing.
One of the things that you need to do as a homesteader is know where you stand, what you can and can't do, and then reach out and find ways to learn more. One of the reasons that we have a monthly fire pit night is a sense of community, to know what's available in our area. Now, our fire pit night is not growing that way the way we want it to. It's more of a friends thing versus a community, but we have a few people that come that we do know that this is a source for that, and this is another source for that. And, a few people is like that, but that is something you've got to learn, is what's available to you. Who's the local quilter? Who's the local canner? Who's the local craftspeople, the local gardener? Where's your local extension office? So learn who you can learn from.
And if you have a feed store in your area, just a mom and pop feed store, support them, because a lot of times they know where everything is, because they got all these other customers coming in. They got customers coming in that's got hogs. They got customers coming in that's got milk cows.
You want to find somebody that has a rabbit, ask your feed store, because they sell the rabbit feed.
Yeah, they're a good source. That's why, even though Tractor Supply is coming here, me and Rebecca will still be,
at our
supporting
local
feed store. And but she don't have everything that Tractor Supply has that I look for sometimes, as in tools or tractor parts or something I might need of that nature. And that keeps me away from Home Depot. Not knocking Home Depot, but they're a big box store. So anytime I can stay away from Walmart or Home Depot, I try to, but because I like to support local people. But
a trend that we have noticed though lately with the local people is they're hurting as bad as everybody else.
Yeah.
With being able to be stocked and have good employees and all that.
Yeah, that's another subject on its own.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. That's not a today talk, guys. So yeah, what makes you a homesteader? A homesteader is the desire, I think, to start something and learn and grow with it. Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to put it.
And start just one thing. Just start with something that you want to try.
Yeah, if you start with everything,
You're going to mess up.
you're going to be overwhelmed, discouraged, have failures, and you're going to back out of it.
Yeah.
Start with 1 or 2 things, get them up and going with their running themselves, basically, and then add something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as you
Don't pull me.
Just start growing slowly. And I believe if you grow slowly, you make less mistakes. Then, because a lot of time you might put up a pin somewhere for something, and then you go, I don't really like it here. Or you might put a garden spot in a spot, and it just don't grow well. And you say, well, this is not a good spot. So, there's.
Well, that's also why they say when you purchase a property, you don't do anything on the first year.
For the first year, you learn where the water flow is. You learn where your best soil is.
Learn where your shade is, your sun, your wind.
Right. And that makes a big difference.
Your deer.
There's a couple things I wish I hadn't done here.
Learn where your deer are.
Yeah, learn where the deer are. Yeah. And other critters.
Yeah, and other critters.
So, yeah. But yeah, because there's a few things I would have changed here. I would change now.
What would you change?
Like on the chicken pen, I'd done a little different.
What would you do?
I would have probably expanded that way a little further and had both barns inside there, and then fixed me a gate.
Oh, you're talking about the fence.
Yes, the fence.
Oh, when you said chicken pens, I thought you
well,
meant the
also
hoop
with them
houses.
hoops, I may have would have put.
Well, we're changing them already.
Right,
so what would you have done with them?
Actually, I would think about moving them back to where the beehive and the
up against that back fence.
Yeah, kind of use that fence as a
barrier,
because that's going to be fenced in sooner or later anyway. But as a barrier, but also to give them more grazing room toward the front. In some way, and 2, you could take and run a fence across there, and you could put a little goat or something in there if you needed to, and you'd have that room in there.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I've got that divider up there too. So
that way we could block off the
section
trees.
From chickens from
other thing,
Marshall.
No, if you're thinking about putting a chicken pen up, a big one, and later on you think about a goat or something, you might not want to plant fruit trees.
So we had the brilliant idea that we were going to plant the fruit trees inside the chicken yard, because what happens with the fruit that drops? It'd feed the chickens, right?
Yeah, the rotten.
And they would eat the bugs and everything that's around the rotten fruit that's on the ground. Well, guys, that meant that everywhere we planted a fruit tree, we would not be able to put a
goat or sheep or cow.
Anything that likes
or
to
horse.
Eat
Yeah.
a tree.
Yeah. So we've had to be selective now.
Engineer a small ecosystem by arranging. Hold on. I got pop-ups covering up the chat now. By arranging stuff a certain way. Yes. You can kind of engineer a small ecosystem by arranging stuff a certain way. Yes. You can put up wind blocks with trees and things like that. It's also a soundproof thing for all them chicken crowing. The trees will help block scent a little bit as well.
You don't need but one rooster for every 12 hens.
Right.
So.
And that's if you want babies.
Yeah, if you want. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want eggs.
You don't need a rooster at all. You do not need a rooster to have eggs. Let's go ahead and put that myth to rest.
I had glasses over there.
You reading the email that just popped up on the screen?
No, I'm going to read chat because I'm not used to doing it.
That email keeps popping up on the screen and it's driving me insane. But we also, like I said, we put in 2 dogs with our chicken run, about an acre. There's 2 dogs in there that kind of keep predators away also. So, you can kind of engineer a little ecosystem by arranging things certain ways. You can build yourself a fish pond inside that area. You can plant things that will attract your pollinators and things like that. There's a lot of things like that you can do.
We got another attack coming.
1 rooster for 12 hens is good info.
Yes. Attacked by animals anymore.
And 1 rooster for 12 hens is good info only if you want babies. You don't need a rooster at all to have an egg. Okay. So just saying. And the rooster is going to protect what it can protect. It can protect more than 12. It can protect less than 12, depending on the predator. So if there's more than one predator, you're going to still lose a lot of stuff and probably lose the rooster too. So really and truly, the one rooster to 12 hens is only for propagation of the species, I guess, reproduction.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing,
don't need a rooster to lay an egg.
Not change the subject a minute, but one thing, if you're looking to buy land, I know this is getting off on a whole different subject, but if you're looking to buy property to do homestead, either 1 acre or 20 or 30 or 40, 50, whatever you're looking at, really look at that property. And what I mean, really look location, look at where the sun comes up on what side of the land, how much shade is on the property, how much wetlands you got, and take a lot of that in consideration. And you kind of already got to know kind of a goal what you're thinking about doing. In other words, if I'm going to just buy an acre, I don't want to buy an acre and 3/4 of it be wet all the time, because you're just not going to grow a garden there. Or buy a hillside. And when I'm talking about a hillside, I'm talking about one of those straight up
Cliff
that you
type.
can't really do nothing with. So that's different things to look at.
Did you mention checking your zoning?
They'll check zoning,
city regulations and stuff, because we looked at that property. What was that, 7 acres?
Yeah, we looked at 7 acres
And
we found out we didn't want that
you
spot.
can't, your city zoning for that 7 acres specified that you couldn't have anything near the house or near the property line. It had to be certain distances away from property lines and houses and things like that. And they only allowed, I think you could have 18 hens, because that was Silicaga's agreement with the 4-H program for the chick chain thing. You couldn't have one rooster.
Right. I don't think you have no hogs or cows.
No livestock at all. So you really need to check with your city zoning and commission to see what you're allowed to do on a property. Because just because it's zoned residential or even agriculture, they can still have regulations stating that you can't do certain things.
Right.
So make sure you check those zoning records and all. There's a guy near your mama's house that bought that property that everybody thought was commercial. So he bought it to put a business on, and come to find out it was never commercial to start with, and he didn't verify. So he is trying to change zoning now from residential to commercial, and it's probably not going to get changed because none of the residents around it want it changed. So make sure you check your zoning, make sure you check your regulations and all that stuff. Make sure you check where the property is, city or county.
Right. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. Water.
And know your neighbors, like Spencer said.
If you're planning on later on going more solar or wind or whatever you're going to use, you got to think all that. You need to have a goal in place. And some of that stuff ain't cheap either. Solar ain't cheap.
Solar is not cheap. There's 4 wells on this property. 4 wells.
Yeah, I've got to get.
And none of them have the pump.
2 of them have pumps, but they're submergible and they're probably old and probably rusted out. So
that's either power we have to run or solar.
But there's already power too then.
Oh.
So all we got to do is put a pump in.
Okay, cool.
But
if we went with solar,
we'd have to put a solar pump in.
And that pump was
$3,000 for everything.
For everything, or just
that was for the pump and the batteries and the circuitry to run it.
But not the tank and all that.
No, it's not the tank. It's not the piping.
So yeah, even wells are expensive.
So you go to adding all that other stuff. You probably add another couple $100 to it. Well, no, tank's about $300 or $400. So you'd end up.
And that was pre-COVID pricing, wasn't it?
So you're probably, to get a solar well going, and then you got to make sure that well can do a solar, because you got to have so many feet.
Oh.
And you've got to be able to pump that, head pressure. So a lot to take in consideration.
Yep.
That's why most people don't go solar, because you can just throw a regular 1.5 horsepower submergible pump in, and you can pump as much water as you want to pump.
Yeah.
And so there's other things taken into consideration, but it is something we need to really look at.
Mhm.
It's at least getting one well
Oh yeah.
on solar.
Yeah, because
So-
these animals go through a lot of water.
Well, not just that, with times coming,
Mm-hmm.
and Spencer, are you on well water? I know you said you lived a good piece out. I don't know if Miss Pat and Mr. Joe is or not. I think they may be on city water.
These are drilled wells, so they got that pipe ran down
They're
them.
cased wells.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them I think has never been used.
Mhm. We got lucky. We bought a well driller's house.
Yeah, the guy that owned this place was a well driller. So there's piping and fittings everywhere and stuff. So.
He said yes, and he fixes a lot of them.
Yeah, so he knows a lot about wells.
He
so,
does.
Yeah, they can be aggravating.
Yeah.
But we are looking at the solar for at least one of them down the road. We'll probably put a regular pump in one of them. And we got to test our water, see if it's any good, because we might not have good water no more.
Absolutely.
So we're not close to no
What
industry.
are you doing to her?
Tickling her a little bit. So, well, it's keeping her calm right now.
She was almost asleep till you started that.
So I'm trying to keep this dog calm. Because anytime me and you get together and we talking, she's got to be the center of attention. She is a spoiled, rotten dog.
And y'all see why she's a spoiled, rotten dog. Yeah.
You rub this belly for a while, she gets calm.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I didn't, her and the cats would be licking and.
Yeah.
Now, we've been talking about doing live for a while, so we finally done it today.
Mm-hmm.
We got to figure
and we
out.
have people answering. I mean, in the chat, so that's awesome.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah.
40 acres out
I appreciate
in the country
everybody
as well as
joining in with us. We are thinking about starting doing live, and I don't know when to do it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because I don't want to trump on anybody else's time either.
Well, I know my schedule. I'll be off Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well,
Just saying.
Well, we can do it on Tuesdays. If we done it kind of early. Because I know Chris.
Yeah, Becca got a job. Because Becca don't got Facebook no more.
Well, yeah. Well, explain that a minute since you got
Oh, Lord.
guys,
Guys,
don't go in.
This is an example of
don't put all your eggs in one
basket. Yeah. Generally when we say that, we mean, don't expect one crop to produce your income every year, because there could be a crop failure or anything like that. You want to diversify. There's always different meanings to don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't hunt in one spot, have several spots open. I mean, there's lots of meanings for this.
That can be anything in life.
Facebook is my eggs in one basket. So all of the farm stuff is done there. All of the craft business is done there. All of the paparazzi business is done there. All my personal business is done there.
Lay down.
And on the 5th, I did a live on my Facebook page for the jewelry business. And then I posted a reel because I actually was a content creator on there and got a little tiny paycheck each month. And then I went to bed. Yep, I did. I woke up the next morning and I had a notification from Facebook that showed several thumbnails of what I guess are images or pictures or I don't know, that was posts that were made that morning that went against community standards. So they needed me to go in because my email was tried to be changed. The phone number, I had set it up for 2-step verification, which was a good thing. Because they did not change it because I had that set up. But it triggered it to be account verified, basically. And so when I verified my account, they said, oh, okay, good. So we see that, this is your information. We'll correct it and we'll set your account back up. So they knew I got hacked and yet they permanently disbanded my account for posts that went against community standards. So that is why I'm going from part-time to full-time, because, guys, every friend I know, I don't have their phone numbers. They're on Facebook. Every family member, most of them are on Facebook, because I don't call people. I just don't. I don't have emails for people. I don't text them. We all messaged on Facebook or talked on Facebook or whatever. Every customer that I had for the farm, again, y'all guessed it, Facebook, messaging. Every transaction went through there. I mean, so don't put all of your marketing in one basket either, because when you lose Facebook, it affects more than you actually realize. It's not just this that it affects. I've been on there since 2007, maybe. I don't know how long I've been on there. I've been on there since it started, just about, though.
She did have withdrawal symptoms.
Everything.
Oh my!
Everything is on Facebook, guys. Y'all just don't realize. I went to talk to somebody, and the way I talked to them was on Facebook. Somebody went to share something with me. They said, "Well, I won't send it in Messenger because I know you don't have Messenger because that's Facebook. But I'm gonna send it to you in a text." I was like, "What are you sending me? A Facebook link?" Yeah, no Facebook links, guys. Not only that, I discovered just the other day another problem with not having my Facebook account. Guys, how many of you have logged into websites such as, or apps like Pinterest or any of those others where you get the option to sign in using your Facebook or your Google account? Yeah, I signed into a lot of apps and websites through my Facebook account. Didn't even know it. Like my Live X Live, which is music. It used to be Slacker. They changed the name of it. And I went to pull that up to play some music while I was at work. And wow, there is no more Slacker for me. I have to go create a whole brand new account because I logged in through Facebook. Yeah.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's what.
Yeah.
And
so,
that can pertain to anything.
anything. Yeah.
With the homestead and with your life, I mean, that can. And then that gets snatched
Spencer
away.
And Joe in there.
Huh?
Spencer and Joe in there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I done said something.
Yeah, the Facebook is, y'all, we don't even realize how far Facebook actually reaches into stuff. When they disabled my Facebook, they also disabled my Instagram.
It got everything.
It got everything. They did go back and renew my Instagram, but the thing is I never used Instagram. It posted from Facebook to Instagram for the business accounts automatically. So I don't even know how to use Instagram. I just know I have it. So
yeah. Well, Instagram's run by
Meta.
Yeah, by Facebook.
Yeah. All those Meta companies.
We may, give it a little time. You might can get it back. I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm doing, but I won't be able to get access to the existing pages.
Yeah, I know.
They're still available on Facebook, guys. The Cedar Creek Bottoms Facebook page is still on there. So is the Bling by Becca page, but nobody is manning them.
Two, if you got a lot of pictures on Facebook,
yeah,
you need to go in there and back him up on something else. Get you a thumb drive or something and back that stuff up on something. Where
don't let it be your backup, in other words, because every picture from 2007 that I took of vacations went on Facebook, and then I would delete them to save space for somewhere else because I'll always have Facebook, right?
If you got people you want to stay really in touch with, I would
get their phone numbers,
get their phone
guys.
number and put it somewhere else.
Yeah, get their phone numbers.
Just in case.
Luckily, I have people messaging my daughter, or I think somebody's messaged you, haven't they?
A few times.
Trying to reach me, and so they've gotten in touch with me through other people, thankfully. But I definitely have lost a lot of business and friends and family that I don't have any contact methods for. So make sure that y'all don't put all those eggs in one basket. Make sure you have other contact ways. Make sure you've got those pictures backed up somewhere else. Because for me, every family vacation since 2007 is on there. Every friend that I have pictures of that, for instance, like if me and Pat were friends on Facebook and she shared a photo and tagged me in it, I no longer have access to that. You know, before I still had access to it. Now I don't. And yeah, that's why you haven't seen it. So that's why I haven't seen
Northern says,
Tuesdays.
well, she didn't do a video today, and that's why we decided to.
Guys at work.
And we've been thinking about doing a live other day when we was on with Spencer, and y'all need to go check out Spencer. And Lord have mercy, I can't even.
Here we go with the cats again. Sorry, guys.
Spencer, what's the name of your channel again? Forgive me, man.
Bigfoot.
No, it ain't Bigfoot. It's Lord have mercy.
Something in barbecue.
No, that's.
Oh, that's right. It's
He got a new name for it, and I can't remember.
That's the description.
Woods Watchers.
Woodwalkers.
There we go. Thank you, Spencer.
With a Z. He put it in the comments, guys. So make sure y'all go look at that.
Yeah, he's on
Would all
start
of y'all get out of
Sunday
my lap?
afternoons at
Move it,
30
sister. Get
Eastern.
down.
So y'all be checking him out. Him and Miss Misty from Southern Sasquatch, Appalachia. How's that go? Lord have mercy, I'm bubbling everything up today. Southern Appalachian Squatch something. Anyway, put that on there too, Spencer. You know I'm being goofy.
Put it on there.
So, but he's gonna start doing that on Sunday afternoons. So y'all be sure to go check him out on Sundays. And me and Rebecca will try to come up with a day that seems to suit
Southern
us good.
Sasquatch Sisters.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. I don't know why I can't think of nothing today. Here we go with that plague problem going on again. But you got to watch it. I can't use that other word.
Yeah, I already messed up and did it.
Huh?
I already messed up and did it earlier.
Yeah, so we'll try to come up with a day. And are we going to do this live mostly about homesteading?
That can be about anything, I think.
We're going to mix it up.
I think we're going to mix up the live.
Kind of like what Spencer's doing here on his. That'd be a good thing.
Yeah, because we'll have your Friday fireside chats that you prepare, and we'll do my Tuesdays that we'll prepare. And you know what? Through the winter, we may do the lives on Tuesday.
Okay, just got to make sure what time, because I don't want to get on somebody else's. I know you're going to get on
And I just
somebody.
said through the winter, notice, because right now I don't have a lot of homesteading content even.
Okay, well,
I could do some
I can
canning,
give you a
but
bunch.
oh, back to what makes you a homesteader or not a homesteader. Just because you can doesn't make you a homesteader. Just because you don't can doesn't make you a homesteader. If you have to purchase your stuff from the store to can it, by all means do it. You didn't grow it, that's okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can go to the store and buy and can it at home.
From the farmer's market, you don't have to grow your own tomato and can it to be a homesteader.
And in
Just
fact,
saying.
that probably works out for a lot of people the way they work and don't have time to grow a garden. You can go to the store and buy big quantities of stuff, or you ain't even got big quantities of
I'm
stuff.
liking the live too, Mr. Spencer. I'm liking it.
Yeah, because it really, I've done noticed the live is more interaction and you actually get comments. Because when you do a video, you do the video, and you go upload it, download it, whatever you call it.
And then I don't come back until I do the next one.
Right. And so, yeah, I think live's good. And two, it'd probably be.
Cases is the way to do it. Buy cases.
Yeah, yeah. But I know a lot of people that go up on Sand Mountain, which is a mountain in Alabama, which is above Birmingham.
Spencer.
Huh?
Keep going.
What's Spencer say?
He asked if it lasts any longer if you bought it in a can and then recanned it. No.
I don't know about buying it canned. Why would you? Huh?
Yeah. That's what he
I didn't
asked.
follow that in Spencer.
You do not need to buy cans of green beans and then recan them. They're not going to last any longer.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see.
Some people, they buy a big, huge thing of the green beans, and then they'll split it up into smaller portions. It's not making it last any longer, but it will help it. It'll split it up into smaller portions to where you don't waste half of it. Now, here's the problem with doing that. So The first time you pressure cook it, you cook it, right? And it's in the canner or in the store-bought can. Okay, they have the same method, but it's a little different, but they have the same method. So then when you open up the big huge can and you split it into smaller jars again, well, guess what? Most of that stuff you still have to pressure can again. Like if you're doing green beans has to be pressured. So you bought the canned good from the store that was pressure canned to start with and placed in that metal can. And then you got to pressure can it again to make it last and seal in your jar if that's what you're doing. Okay. So some of it you may be turning into mush, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. There you go. Well, like when I was doing a lot of the truck farming, patch farming, whatever you want to call it, back in the 90s and early 2000s, I had a lot of people, older people, and people at work that would come by from me and they'd buy a quantity. They'd buy a bushel of peas from me because they was going to go home and put them up because they didn't have time to have a garden, but they could, at night time, they could get in there and do what they needed to, or they'd come buy a bunch of corn from me, and put it up, or tomatoes, whatever. So you can do the same thing. You don't have to have that garden going. Pressure cookers, there's ain't but about two types out there really around here, and that's the Prestos. And
there's more.
Well, I know there's more.
No, there's more. It's just where you find them. There's the Presto. There's the All American. There's some strange brands. There's Denali now. We saw them at the Homestead conference. There's a bunch of brands. And me, I'm not a brand person. So I'm going to buy whatever I can that's the cheapest. I don't think All American's better than Presto or any of that. You know what I'm saying? That's me. Some people might disagree.
Just check your quality of your
check your parts.
Yeah.
It's not about the brand.
You have to deal with, the better off you are.
A lot of people are getting these electric canners now.
I mean, that'd be all right, but if you don't have power, then you just
exactly. I know a lot of people are scared of pressure canners. And let me just say now that the Instapot, it is a pressure cooker, not a pressure canner. I am a rebel. I am a rebel to a degree. But that's what I would say. Just buy cases in regular sized cans versus buying the big one. And just leave them in the can like they are. You're going to turn it to mush when you can it again. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about the canner, but
what was I saying about the canner?
I don't know.
Oh, the Instapot. Yeah, the Instapot is not a canner. It's a pressure cooker. Make sure that if you are buying an electric canner, that you are buying an electric canner that is big enough for your needs. A lot of people are getting the electric canners because they're scared of the old style canners. And you have to sit there and watch that gauge and adjust your temperature until you know exactly where you're at. With an electric one, you don't have to do that. It maintains that temperature on its own. I'm a rebel canner, guys, but I'm not stupid.
It's good and bad to everything. I like the old style. You just got to sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
My mother canned forever since I was little, and aunts and uncles, and I never seen one blow up or nothing.
That's me. I've never seen one blow up in my life.
They did watch what they was doing, and
they
like every time,
their parts.
And my daddy would oil the seal for mother on the canner to make sure it's sealed good.
See, I've never seen a seal oiled.
Yeah, they would oil them. They would always make sure the little chute, the little hole wasn't stopped up.
Yep, you have to make sure that's what keeps the pressure.
We canned. I was growing up, we'd done some canning, but I know Mama would put up probably 200 quarts of green beans every year.
Yep.
And I don't know how many jars of tomatoes, which she water bathed them.
Yeah.
Then squash and corn and
she didn't water bath the green beans. She water bath the tomatoes, right?
Yes, water bath.
because they're
tomato.
acidic.
Yeah.
So.
And fruits, she could.
So let me talk about Rebel Cannon for a second,
Okay.
just for a second. So there's a lot of information out there when you choose to be a Rebel canner. You need to be careful, use your head, and think it through. Okay. So there's two types of canning. There's water bath canning, which is for your acidic foods.
Fruits, tomatoes. Yeah.
You either put vinegar in there. It's like for pickles, salsa, jellies, tomatoes, acidic foods. Pressure
Tell them what
canning.
water bath means a minute.
Okay. Pressure canning is everything else. Okay. So water bath does not mean you sit it in a pot of water and let it go. Water bath, you cover above the jar with water that is constantly boiling. Okay. You don't just put it in hot water. You put it in boiling water that constantly boils for a certain amount of time. Now, pressure canning is a little bit of water in the pot. It builds up pressure as it cooks. And then when it reaches pressure, you start a timer and it has to cook at that pressure for a certain amount of time. Now, for example, when I'm talking about disinformation, okay, the bad stuff, you got to use your head and all, okay? A lot of people will take things that are pressure canned and they will water bath them instead. Now, I'm not going to water bath a can of green beans for 3 hours when I can just pressure can it for 45.
Yeah, or 25, whatever.
Yeah, whichever it is. It's maybe 30. I mean, it may be 30 minutes. I don't know. But there are also people, so that you've got those that are taking pressure canned goods and putting them in a water bath. Some of that may be safe, but to me, it doesn't make sense because I'm not scared of my pressure canner. I know my pressure canner. Again, I've never seen one blow up, but I go through all the steps and make sure it's safe. But there are some Rebel canners that are doing the open kettle where you don't even cover the jars with water now. I have not tried that yet. I'm not sure I'm going to try that. But I also was seeing where somebody water bathed in the bathtub. They filled the bathtub up with water, put their jars down in it, and called that water bathing. Okay. So when you read some of the stuff that's out there for Rebel canning, I say take it with a grain of salt and use your head. There are also people that are taking raw eggs that they washed. And I'm not talking about the lime water, guys. I'm not talking about that at all. That's water glassing, and that's a whole different ballgame there. I will not be water glassing either because I have chickens that lay all year round. So I have no need to have the backup however many jars of limed eggs. But there are people out there washing the egg, putting them down in a jar, pouring boiling water over it, water bathing it for an amount of time. That way they have hard-boiled eggs on demand, still in the shell.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know about that one, guys. I don't know about that one. Now, I boil eggs, make them hard-boiled, and then I pickle them in juice or whatever. But I don't know about that. I don't think I want to try that even. That sounds a little iffy to me. I mean, so when I say Rebel, I'm Rebel with a brain, and I take it with a grain of salt.
Other thing, if you're going to can, I would recommend get you a book.
Yes. Before you start trying to be a Rebel canner, learn about canning.
Sister, get out from up there. What's wrong with you? Get out from up there.
Learn about canning. A lot of my recipes that I use, I got from our local extension service. Your extension service probably has a book also.
Your dog's a nut.
Your dog. But the Ball Canning book is also a good resource of tested recipes. They're good places to start, guys. And then you learn the right stuff and you can adjust from there and be more rebel. I have canned most of my life. So,
One other thing that's getting very popular that was popular way back then, and people kind of got away from it because of the USDA, I think, was the ones that, or maybe the Extension Service, don't recommend that you can meat.
USDA.
They recommend that you don't can meat, but yet in the ball canning books and Prestos, they say you can. Now, my grandmother canned a lot of meat, but now she canned it with a pressure cooker. I think she done sausage and chicken. I don't know what all she done. I know my mother used to go down there and help her a lot. But if you do meat, I mean, you can do hamburger meat. I've heard of people taking hamburger patties, making them up, set them all in the jar,
and then pressure canning it.
And pressure
don't water bath that, guys.
Yeah,
pressure
you
can
got
it.
the pressure can, and it's going to take longer.
Don't say you got to, because there's people out there that will do that for 3 hours.
Well, I was going to say go by the book, because the book tells you how long to do it.
It's not going to tell you how to water bath it.
I'm not talking about water bath.
What I'm saying is you don't have to pressure. You can water bath it for 3 or 4 hours.
I don't recommend doing it.
I don't recommend it either.
So let's don't talk about that.
But it's a possibility.
Well, I mean, if you was in an emergency situation and you didn't have
I love pickled eggs.
a pressure cooker, and that's the only way you could do it, then I guess that's the way you'd have to do it. But I would be very careful.
Flat Rock
I
has
think
joined
I'd rather
the room.
salt it down and hang it. And
Flat
smoke
Rock
it.
has joined us.
Who?
Flat Rock.
Oh, okay, cool. Flat Rock. Hey, man.
Yeah, we have.
Good to see you, Flat Rock.
I can't tell.
We gotta get you back up here on Creepy
is-
Mountain. We gotta get a bunch of folks up here.
So I know who
Sooner or
Joe
later
is.
we're
I know who Spencer is. I don't know who Koine777 is. Do you? Whoever you are, hi.
And I don't want to be rude. I've seen so
Joe
many
and
names.
Pat, I know, and I don't know a lot of
Well,
the
hello to
names
you,
because
too.
you know the Bigfoot
Glad
ones.
you joined us. And it may be somebody from one of the chat.
Coin.
Huh?
I was reading what he said.
Oh,
Coin777.
glad to have you. I was seeing that a while ago, and I was thinking, who is that? And that may be somebody off one of the Bigfoot.
That's what I was
Chats
saying.
or
I don't
something.
know
I don't know.
those. That's your group.
No, they're our group.
But I'm saying I don't know their names.
Oh, okay. I see.
I don't know their names like you do.
Well, a lot of the people in the Bigfoot group, Homestead too, baby.
Yes, they
Every one of them.
do. I
There's a
need to
ton
learn
of
them. I do need to learn
There's
them.
a ton of them.
I do need
There's
to
more
learn
than I
them,
thought they were.
but I don't know them.
Because I see them sometimes mentioning stuff.
They seem to all know him. So, Pat Blue Eyed Northern says she knows him.
Okay, good.
So,
Well, we're glad to have
I'm
you.
glad to have him. Yeah. Coin777.
Yeah,
So,
we'll remember. Yeah. And forgive us when we don't know you. It's just because,
we don't know you.
well, we may
I
see you
commented
somewhere.
on your video.
Huh?
He's commented on our videos before.
He has. That's right. He has. Okay. Yeah, you forgive me on that because,
He's
All
just
right.
not one you've met.
well, I ain't met. Well, there's a lot of
As I
folks. I
say,
ain't
you've met.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've met most of these.
And this is what I'm gonna like about live, and I seen Spencer.
All the new people.
Well, but I seen Spencer also comment a while ago. You can ask questions, and yeah, this is a good time to ask questions.
Yeah, he got highlighted.
Who?
Spencer said he's dang Coin, you got to be part of the show.
Yeah. Because I mean, to me, the lives are good when you got time to be on them because you can't ask questions. Because I go on these other Bigfoot lives and ask questions and learn stuff that I didn't know because I don't know it all, and I don't know all about Homestead neither. I mean, I was lucky to grow up in it, but there's a lot of stuff that I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of it I didn't learn that I should have learned because I wasn't paying attention.
Coin's a sheep.
Oh, okay. Forgive us again. We're digging a hole left and right here.
Yeah, we just need to stop.
We're glad you're on though, and we appreciate it. We appreciate everybody that come on today. I know this was something we throwed out there all of a sudden. And
Retired, 65. Nice.
That's good.
So she knows a lot of what we're already talking about.
Oh yeah, she does.
Mm-hmm.
So
Canned deer meat.
you know what
great.
we need to do?
What do we need to do?
You know, kind of like how we do the Bigfoot outings. We need to have a homesteader outing.
We do. We do.
And you know, we tried to do that one time, but that was during the middle of the plague when everybody was scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
And which I mean, there's a lot of people need to be, you know, but we need to maybe try that again.
Sister, quit
We may
bumping the
need to
table.
try to set a date in the spring or something before everybody gets real busy.
Did I help you?
Y'all be thinking, would y'all come to something like that? I know ain't but a few of you on here, but if we were to try to set up a homesteader outing, would y'all be interested in that? Is that something y'all think you would want to come to or you know be a part of? And do you like us do? I know. Do you like us doing this live? And
Always up for a road trip.
And would you want us to do one once a week on homesteading, Bigfoot, or anything? Hunting, fishing.
I think we should do the one just open.
Well, that's what I'm talking about on everything.
I think we should do one open, which means we got to sit down and look at the
because
schedule.
everything ain't about Bigfoot.
Mm-mm.
Spencer said that other day, and I'm glad he did because there's more to life
Well,
than
that's
Bigfoot.
that's why we have two separate videos on the same channel.
True.
So, because both of them kind of go together. So, yeah. So yeah, I think we need to redo the schedule and pick a day for a live and set it up.
Let me make sure that we're not going to get on top of somebody else's.
Sister, keep moving, please.
And there's some good homesteading other channels to watch. I know I've told some of y'all Deep South Homestead down in Mississippi. Mr. Danny and Miss Wanda. Here we go again. Mm-hmm. Boy, I can't talk today.
And there's a lot of them that I like their older stuff.
Yeah, their older stuff because they really get into explaining how to do things.
Mm-hmm. Some of them they've talked about it so many times that they don't want to do another video on it. You've got to go back through their older stuff and find it.
Yeah, I mean, after a while it gets old, but also Perma Pastures up North Carolina.
Yeah,
because he does a lot of the perma type farming, and I mean he grows up on the side of a mountain and making it grow. I want to go visit him. He's up above Asheville, and there's another guy that does kind of the old style homestead. That Justin Metcalf.
Oh yeah.
That builds grist mills, and he does a lot of the stuff kind of like I grew up doing. Planting sorghum, and that's something that we are going to try to. We planted sugar cane. I got some from Mr. Danny down at Deep South. Don't know what variety it is. I'm still going to try to find me some ribbon cane. And what ribbon cane is, it's kind of a sugar cane, but it's got little ribbons all the way around it. It's kind of neat looking. But it makes a very good syrup. And I'm going to try to plant some sorghum this spring. Not grain sorghum, but sorghum that you make syrup out of. I'm going to find me a meal, so I'm going to have to start looking for me a meal. I've got a buddy that's got all of it, but he does have Alzheimer's, so I don't know how. Which I'm going to tell you, that would probably make him think, because he loved making syrup. But and y'all's sister has just took over here. She decided to talk for me instead of me talking. But
she's Mark's face now.
But there's some, and plus we got to get that grist mill going. And what else are we planning on doing? No, we're planning on getting some fencing up, getting some Dexter cows. And while we're looking at Dexters,
y'all do your research when you decide to get an animal and pick the best one for you.
Yeah.
So we're looking at Dexters. 2
reasons. They are a multi-purpose cow. In other words, they can be a meat or milk cow. Also, what I like about them is they can live off brush. So in other words, they'll eat bushes. In fact, what I've heard, they'd rather eat a bush than they would grass. They're not big grass grazers. There's certain cows, like the longhorns and the shorthorns and what they call the Alabama pine cow. They are better in the woods. They learned to graze in the woods, eating bushes and stuff. They still eat a little grass, but what is it?
The boogers still like me, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah. In fact, he come through. What night was it? Saturday night.
I think he came
No,
through last
Friday
night
night.
too.
Oh, did he come through last?
I
You
think
ain't told
so.
me
I
about
hadn't
it.
even talked to you yet.
Well,
It's because you've been asleep and I've been at work and.
Well, tell us about it. They like
So,
to listen to it too.
I was in here last night, trying to tape up some cups and stuff
Yeah, we
for.
got to get them. For
Yeah, I
Chris.
got to get them out.
Chris is gonna kill us.
And sister was in here, and this cat was in here, and this cat was in here, and there was a noise that happened right over there.
At the door.
Not the door. It's like something got knocked over or drug against the outside of the brick. I know it didn't,
Well,
but
how
I
you know it
heard, huh?
How you know it did? Did you get up and go look?
No, I did not.
What did sister do?
Sister sat with me and looked over there and didn't do nothing.
So she didn't go.
She said, "Nope,
She didn't bark.
nope."
You didn't see nothing.
We didn't see nothing go by.
Motion light come on. See, that's what blows my mind. Anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, the porch light flips on and off all the time. So.
Yeah, I put a motion type bulb in my front porch light and my back
That's
porch
it,
light
sister's life.
because the one that was coming here, or well, the one that's still here, he ain't really left, or she, or whatever they are. I figure it's a little bit of both, but you know, they fooled with the front door a couple of times. You know, then they slapped the back door, and of course got the dog upset and everything. And of course, Rebecca seen one time motion go by the window when at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So you know,
and the other night when you were in here, something messed with the back door, but I don't know what. It could have been wind.
Yeah, that could have been wind,
but it was just like somebody tried to open the back door.
Well, that was during the middle of the day. I don't think he
was that the middle of the day? I thought that was dark because it was during the live.
With Spencer and him. That was daylight.
It was dark, wasn't it?
No, that's
No?
daylight
Okay,
hour.
never mind.
Yeah, that's daylight hour.
I'm going crazy.
So I put in those motion bulbs. You can buy them at Home Depot, places like that. They're a little more expensive than a regular bulb, but they're pretty nice because as you approach the door, they come on. Because that's I don't want him fooling with the doors. You know, if he's hanging out here, that's one thing. I can live with him as long as he ain't messing with animals and doing what he's. But when he comes to fooling with the doors and slapping the house, then I got a little problem with him. Now, if he stays down there in the woods, catches deer, coons, rabbits, whatever he catches, and he does not bother livestock, I'm not going to mess with him much. But we're not going to feed him neither, though.
No, no. So back to the Dexters. They eat brush and stuff too. And they're a smaller cow. So they don't need as much room as a big cow.
I think
so. A Homesteader cow is a good one.
I think most of them top out around 850, 900, which is still a pretty good sized cow. And most bulls, I think, stay in the 1100, 1200 range, which is still a pretty good sized animal.
Yes.
But what I've been watching about them, and there's a girl not far from a lady. I need to refer to her as a lady. Everybody's younger than me. I always refer to them as boy and girl. I need to quit doing that.
You do.
But she's been raising them a long time now. She raises them for beef, and they love them. Of course, Mr. Danny down at Deep South raises them.
And your friends here in town.
Who's in it?
Chris.
That's who I was talking about.
Oh,
Chris
they're down the road?
Well, they live back up toward Winterburg, about 7-8 miles from here.
I didn't know they were that close.
You know, right through Riders Mill, and I'll be right there at them.
Didn't know they were that close.
Now, she had a big herd of them.
Mm-hmm.
She had about 40 or 50.
Yeah.
But that was her cows. That wasn't her husband's cows. That was made plain. A couple of times I went up there, and they made plain. That was her cows, and his cows were somewhere else. So that would be a good cow. If you had 10 or 15 acres, and most of it was woods, you could actually fence that in. And of course, you're still going to have them some grass and hay, but they could probably utilize them woods. They'd eat the acorns, anything in there. So that's something to think about if you wanted a multi-purpose cow. In other words, a couple of heifers or a couple of cows. Excuse me, a heifer ain't had a calf yet. Um, a cow, that gets where they can produce milk, and then as they have calves, you can take those calves, the bull calves, uh, castrate them, and raise them up as a steer when they get up to their weight for butchering. Which is typically 500 to 600 pounds, where you want to butcher a steer. There you go, and you can keep that continuing. And if you want to food with hogs, the hogs right now that seem to be very good for a lot of homesteaders is the Cooney Coons and what's the other one? The Idaho pasture pig.
Mm-hmm. And the guinea hog.
And the guinea hog. They call them. They say they're grass grazers, which they are, but they're like any other hog. They love the woods. They love the brush too. What a lot of people like about them, they're smaller and they're not as mean as you get into some of your other breeds of hogs. These seem to stay a pretty good temperament. They say their meat's good. They top out around 300 pounds. That's about where you usually want to. About 230, 250 dress a hog, but so they top out about 300. They don't get very huge, which is very manageable for a home, small homestead. So if you wanted a couple of those, and you could take those cattle panels, make you a little pen, and you could train them hogs also. You could let them out in the day and let them just, if you live that way out in the country, you could let them graze for a little while and, learn to call them back up at night or something. Now, of course, hogs make good booger meals. They seem to love them things. So
Pat said, "Have I got sister's sweater yet?"
We ain't putting no sweater. Pat, don't get that started with her. She done been driving me crazy about sweaters. Lord have mercy.
Hey, Misty, how are you?
Don't get me in a doghouse over a sweater.
I want to buy her one of those harnesses with a tutu built in. I'm not allowed.
If we're going to get her anything, it will be an orange vest. That way somebody doesn't shoot her or something. Because I've been thinking about training her to be a squirrel dog.
I know.
Because I think she'd make one because she don't bark a lot.
She don't. And she
pays
trees them.
Attention.
She trees them.
What I learned about squirrel hunting with dogs, you don't want one that barks a lot, squirrel hunting, because typically you're walking with them anyway. It ain't like coon hunting or like Misty where they bear hunting. You want that dog to bark a lot because you want to keep up where they're going. But with a squirrel dog, you don't want them to bark much because it alarms every squirrel in the woods. Number two is, that's just, most everybody's there with squirrel hunting. That's what they want.
Dogs that didn't bark. Well, she likes to tree
bark a little bit. But
she likes to tree them and she likes to play with them. So,
all these boys down here raised.
Are we selling processed meat? Is that for us or is that for Misty? Because yes, we sell processed rabbit
and chicken. We do have.
We do have some chicken too.
Yeah. That was raised here on this place, and we don't have much left of it.
I don't know.
But yes, we do raise rabbits.
Rabbits are our main one.
And there's another thing to think about. Freezer space.
Yes, that's another reason to can.
We're thinking about start canning rabbit. Now that means I'm gonna have to debone it because I don't think I want to run it through the pressure cooker with bones in it, which I don't guess it'd matter.
It wouldn't.
But
because I did the chicken that way.
Yeah, and on chicken. And did you learn this, or did you just figure it out? Where you could put one breast, one leg, and thigh and wing, and one jar. It fit 1 quart jar.
1 quart jar, half of a Cornish cross, guys.
Yeah. Now Cornish cross, if y'all have ever been around them, their breast is big as my hand. I mean, it blowed my mind because I never had raised those till me and Rebecca raised them. I always had the regular old yard chickens.
Yeah,
But,
them scrawny roosters is it's something else.
Yeah, rooster's better for just make chicken and dumplings or
It's
broth.
not even good for that. It's just for broth.
But if you decide you want a canned chicken, that's a way to do it.
Bye, Misty.
But
Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas, Misty. Enjoyed talking to you the other day. But that's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So the Cornish cross gets a bad rep too, for homesteaders, that is. And I'm of the mindset it sure does grow a nice bird. It is a weird growing bird.
Yeah.
It's a nasty bird on top of that.
Well, what you mean by nasty? Because it lays its belly on the ground all the time,
and it doesn't have no feathers, and it's just laying on the ground, and it's a hot bird.
Ooh, yeah,
they are just hot. And as much as I want to say that I won't be raising no Cornish crosses, sure was a good bird to grow. I mean,
easy to clean. I mean, that was the easiest.
What is
chicken.
it? 8 weeks?
And we don't.
10 weeks?
We don't.
We don't pluck.
There you go. Thank you. We don't pluck. I skin. It just seems to be 10 times faster. And it just, I don't know. Not saying if we was to start plucking, I would probably have to get one of those plucking machines.
You mean if we were to start? Oh yeah, if we
plucking.
Did more than one or two.
Yeah.
I can't stand the smell of plucking feathers.
Yeah.
But so what we did for the chickens is I took the breast off of the body. I took the thigh off, and I did take the center bone out of the thigh.
Okay.
But then the drumstick and the wing section, the bones stayed in it.
Right.
And I just stuffed them down in the jar, put a little seasoning in there, put the lid on, and put it in a pressure canner. No broth, no nothing. It was awesome.
Because it made its own.
It made its own broth, yeah.
But we are going to try the rabbit. So next time we got to harvest some.
Yeah, we've got to harvest some.
So
we're past due on harvesting.
So and I will tell you, if one of y'all that don't eat rabbit meat,
you ought to try it.
And it's not like wild rabbit. It's got a different texture.
If you like drumsticks and thighs,
there's a bunch of dishes you can make. One we do a lot of. We take and put a rabbit in a crock pot and pour salsa over it, and let it cook. And boy, you talking about that salsa?
It just does something.
It just flavors that meat good.
And then we take and throw one in, and then just let it cook till it falls off the bone. Pull the bones out and mix it with taco seasoning.
Or make barbecue.
Or barbecue, either one, yeah.
Now, I'm going to say one thing to do. Don't put one in the oven still whole.
No. And serve it on the table still whole. Don't do that. We did that. The first time we served rabbit, we did this awesome tasting recipe.
It was good.
It had like a honey apple cider glaze. And it was roasted in the oven, and you set it on the table, and here's this rabbit on the table,
stuck up, and I'm like,
minus the head.
I'm a country boy. I can handle that stuff, but I was kind of like, boy, this just.
If you have people that are going to be weary of eating rabbit, don't serve it like that.
Yeah, cut it
up. Do not serve it like that, because cute little Fluffy goes through their heads.
Yeah, it didn't help with the legs up there.
No, it did not. It did not.
I mean, it come outside.
None of us went back for seconds, even though it tasted good.
Don't cook it like that.
Yeah. And y'all, cute little Fluffy does some nice damage. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, they rough. They got teeth.
I got scars everywhere because
they will bite.
They have claws, guys, just like cats and dogs. So if you've ever been clawed up by a cat or a dog, these do it too. So
their claws are just about like cats because they dig. So
they're sharp.
Yeah, them some guns rough. Some of them mean too.
Yeah, I have a couple out there that when they had babies nearby, they get a little iffy. So, well, Mark, we probably ought to start wrapping this up since it's Ella's birthday.
Yeah, we got to carry her out to eat here.
Yeah,
man.
and it's right at 5:00. So
yeah,
And you got to go to
And
work.
two, we don't want to wear everybody out.
Right.
Well, I hope y'all liked the live, and I hope it's been entertaining. And I hope we answered some questions maybe, or throw something out there you hadn't thought about.
In the future, we're going to use this to answer questions.
And I hope y'all throw some stuff back
Mhm.
that I don't know, because I ain't no expert in nothing. I'll tell you that
Mhm.
now. It's kind of like that jack of all,
That is
master
me.
of none.
I'm
you
a
know.
jack of all trades and a
But,
master of none.
We'll decide a time we're going to do it. I'll look, make sure we're not getting on top of somebody else that I like to watch, or anybody, you know, friends or anybody. We don't want to do that, but we'll try to find a time that's good for me and her, and for hopefully for y'all.
Yeah, and I apologize. I don't watch a lot of people's lives. It's hard for me to sit still, in case y'all hadn't noticed that throughout this whole video.
Yes, you actually done pretty good though.
Well, I have been sitting here fidgeting.
Well, you do that anyway.
And
That's why I like when, at an outing or when we go, if you see her start walking around or start doing stuff, it's not she's being rude. She just can't sit still.
If I sit still, I'm going to be asleep.
Kind of got that nervous syndrome.
Yeah. Not really, but I just don't sit still. I just like to have something to do. If, if that something to do is doing this, it's something.
Well, you so used to doing that over years, then you had them withdrawal symptoms from it.
That wasn't what it was.
Thought you was going in DTs on me a couple of days there.
Ooh, the language.
She was hot under the collar for a few days, huh?
The language that flew that day. Because, yes, I sell processed meat, but I no longer have a market to sell processed meat.
So, yeah, I didn't hear all that language.
No, you did not. Ella did.
Because I'm not used to her using bad language.
Yeah, I was, I used that word that I don't ever use, that F word.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with Ella when my account got closed again, the fourth one, and I got ticked. And she looked over at Christian. She said, "Christian, I need a drink." Mama's over here cussing again.
Well, I mean, it's human nature. We're going to do that. We're not perfect, but I know I have my days too. So, but well, if anything y'all can think of for our next live to talk about, shoot us a comment on it. If it's something we know about, we'll talk about it. If it's something we don't know about, I'll try to research it a little bit and see if I can figure it out. Like I said, we ain't experts in farming or homesteading or anything. I'm just old country boy from Alabama, and she's a Georgia-mite from Georgia.
Hey, Georgia.
Where Georgia-mite comes from, I'll explain this real quick, and then we'll go. When I worked out at the marble quarries here in Sylacauga, they owned also, the company that owned Sylacauga's marble quarries also owned a bunch of them in Georgia, Vermont, South Carolina. They owned them everywhere.
You have to hide your hands.
And, oh Lord, yeah, I'm getting attacked again. Lord, these cats and dogs. But
Callie is 12. And if she sees your hands, she's going to make you pet her. So we have to hide our hands.
But most of the big boss men were from Georgia. And they would send people over here to our plant sometimes to help us for support, or their engineers and stuff. And we just us Alabama people just started calling them Georgia-mites. But don't mean it ain't no disrespect. It's just they Georgia-mites. But I guess they could call us Alabama-mites. But just, you know, that's what we just started calling them. Say, oh, here comes a Georgia-mite, you know. But we were going over there too to their plants, and you know, sometimes we'd go over and get parts, or if they needed help, we'd go over too. I've been to Sandersville, Georgia, Marble Hill, Georgia, Tate, Georgia, LJ, Georgia.
I've
been to Wyoming one time. I like Wyoming. That was cool.
I've never been to Wyoming.
I'll never forget. I walked out of that plant that evening. We went over to tear down a Raymond mill, bring it back to Sylacauga. I walked out the door that afternoon, and I looked and I said, man, that's a heck of a thunderstorm coming. It's coming from the east. I said, man, that's the blackest thunderstorm I ever seen in my life. but I wasn't seeing no lightning or nothing. And one of them guys from Wyoming walked out the door. I said, "Man, that's a heck of a thunderstorm coming." I said, "That one's coming out of the east." He grinned. He looked at me. He said, "That ain't a thunderstorm. That's dark coming." So I said, "He said, you got to remember, you're up about 10,000 feet. I mean, we're on top of I mean, it was flat as a pancake, but we're up 10,000 feet. I should have known that because my ears were popping like crazy. But but that was weird to see that approaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it got a little closer, I could actually see the stars. And I said, "Man," I said, "in Alabama, you don't see it do like that, But this, you could see the line of it coming, and that was wild. I'll never forget that."
All right. So like, comment, share, subscribe, guys. Hit the notification bell, and we'll let y'all know when we set our schedule for a live, because we'll probably change the Tuesday video to another day, and the live will be another day. That way we can keep Friday fireside chats together.
We'll keep that, but we'll come up with a good evening. Or would y'all rather us do it in the evening, or would you rather wait and do it a little later at night? Because some people are still at work and stuff at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, but if we do it later at night, you won't be able to.
Well, if we started like at 6 or something, we'd be okay. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
And then we'll let everybody know when we're going to start trying to do that. And we may have to.
Because don't forget, I won't get home till 6 some days.
Well, you just have to run the door and be ready to go.
That's right. I think I proved I could do that.
Y'all going to learn that I aggravate her. If y'all are really around a lot, I aggravate. Yeah, she gives it back. But
Tuesday, Chris is on.
Huh?
Chris is on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I think he comes on tonight at 7.
Oh, okay.
Eastern time.
So if we do Tuesday, we'll have to be done before 7.
Yeah, we'd have to be done.
We do that.
I know Beach TV does theirs on Thursdays. Kyle jumps around. You never know when Kyle's going to be on. Also, and then Spencer's on Sunday afternoons. So I can do Monday nights too.
Yeah,
we'll sit down.
We'll figure it out.
Or hey, I can do it Friday night. I'm not worried about it because you
don't need to do the Friday fireside chat and a live together.
Well, it might work because then people could ask questions.
You can't post the 2 on the same day.
You can't put.
Well, I mean, you can, but it upsets the algorithm.
Okay, never mind.
People won't see it as much.
I get you drift.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cedar Creek Bottoms is going live, and we're going to talk a little bit about everything. So.
Yep, we'll let you know.
All right, y'all. I know y'all got to get cooking supper, do whatever you got to do.
Several of them's already left. So Several's already left.
Well, I know everybody can't stay on all day. I mean, I have to leave them sometimes.
All right, we're going out for Ella's birthday, so y'all enjoy.
And have a Merry Christmas if we don't talk to y'all before Christmas.
And if you are going to be part of the ice storms that are moving in, y'all stay safe.
Ice storms.
Ohio apparently is getting some bad.
I'm worried about that. My kids might not make it down here.
Yep. And we're going to be dropping in the teens ourselves, so y'all be
safe.
Love
everybody.
Bye, guys. See if I can hit that end stream.